Hi, this week in my Networking 101, I want to talk about asking for reviews. In my review from my last quarter's consult metrics, I found a trend where most of the people who called mentioned that they had seen my reviews. Um, this was really interesting to me because I don't market my reviews. I don't really have testimonials listed on my website, but they had gone whether they had got my name by referral or through cold lead on Google searches. They had gone and done that research, and it resulted in them wanting to give me a call. So, if you want to work on filling your pipeline and getting those calls to come in, one good way where you may be leaving money on the table is to cultivate and stimulate those reviews. Some people feel a little gross asking for reviews, so it's a delicate situation, but there is a way to do it where it is productive, successful, and it does not leave your client or your colleague feeling kind of gross and icky, like you're begging for something. I have 4 steps on asking for reviews. Number one, choose the right time. So we all have a customer journey from point A to point Z. Somewhere on that customer journey is their peak of satisfaction, and it is definitely good for us to do an assessment to figure out at what point that is. That's when you want to ask for the review. Another opportunity would be after they've offered you positive feedback. If somebody says, "Thank you so much, you've just been so easy to work with. I appreciate that you're always willing to take my calls." That's a good point to ask for the review. But you want to make sure it's been enough time for them to have had an opportunity to use your product or service. Number two, make it easy. So if you're sending emails, if you're sending text messages, include a link to the review. If you're asking in person verbally, then you want to make sure that you have your like a QR code or something that makes it easy. They can just scan on their phone and it shoots them over. Pick a platform. There's a million platforms out there for reviews. You don't want to have 2 reviews on a million different platforms. You want to have a million reviews on one platform. So pick one, flow with it. Be specific and polite. Be very like if you ask for anything, you get nothing. So ask for, hey, in a very short, concise message, hey, I am so glad to have worked with you. Would you be interested in sharing your experience with others so that it can help them find just the right attorney to help them with their estate planning needs? And thank you very much, Allison Phillips. Just short, sweet, to the point. Ask them, gives them the opportunity, includes a link so that all they have to do is click on it. And number 4, customize the request based on relationship. Your clients are not the only ones who can review you. They are the ones that most future potential clients are going to be looking for, but your colleagues can also review you. What is it like to work with this person? How easy are they to work with? Do they have good communication skills? Are they answering their phone? Do they make themselves available for you? All of these are things that matter to people when they're deciding whether or not to call you. They're personal, and information that could make the difference between whether they go with your services or someone else's down the street. Um, so those are the 4 ways to ask for reviews, but that's not where it stops. You then also need to follow up with that review. If they do take that step and do you that favor of granting you a positive review, thank them. Be humble, be kind, have graciousness. If they offer you some type of criticism or constructive feedback, then thank them for taking the time, identify and take responsibility if it's appropriate, and then move over into private conversation to get more detail on what needs to be done so that you can correct that problem or figure out a way to avoid that problem moving forward in future relationship. Um, and so that feedback is also, even though it's not a super positive review, is extremely valuable. If you're worried that you'll get your constructive feedback in a public review rather than privately, you could possibly choose to instead send out a survey at the conclusion of your services, asking them to complete the survey, and then giving them the link to make your review if they feel like that's necessary after they've had a chance to air any grievances. And then you also have the opportunity to follow up. So, thank you for taking the time to listen to my Networking 101 moment for this week. Don't let your estate end up in heirs. If you want peace of mind, drop me a line.